I've been at Brillio, as Rohit was saying, since we started 10 years back.
You are the hitman of this team, right? You are the Rohit Sharma of Brillio. Maybe I'm going to take a little bit of a diversion and get into Sudhir Nambiar. Sudhir, you just joined us as the head of markets for BFSI. Somebody who spent 10 years is next to you. I don't know what this is. Is it week 2?
Week 3. Yeah.
Week 3, right? You are probably the balance between Mayank and Sudhir at this point, right? I think it's 5 years at Brillio now. 80 as a NPS score, 42 Fortune, 100 customers, right? We say we are maniacal about client success. Obviously, the results are there to see. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I think it's an interesting day out here in Brillio, Bangalore. We are all colleagues from the banking and financial services vertical. We've had an exciting 18 months of verticalization, and it's been time to sort of discuss, reflect, and also get together to chart out the next course of action and figure out, what do we do here on, what should be our strategy, etc. While we are going to do all those formal discussions over the next few days, we just thought, why don't we sort of get a little deeper in terms of understanding the individuals, their personas, getting their viewpoints on, what's happening in the banking industry. And hopefully, as we go through this, we get a lot of insights which we've not seen so far, right? So with that, maybe Mayank, I'll open this up to you. You've been a veteran in Brillio, and you've probably been there from day one. So maybe if I can request you to sort of, give a little bit about your background, the journey in Brillio, and where do you actually see the BFSI vertical headed here on, as well as the happenings in the industry.
Thank you, Rohit. Then it has been great meeting with a lot of the colleagues here over the last few days. So my name is Mayank Pant, and I've been at Brillio, as Rohit was saying, since we started 10 years back, in 2014. I have over that period of time obviously played a variety of roles and have been fortunate to work closely with a lot of our strategic clients, and that's really what I enjoy doing, right? Working side by side with our clients in terms of helping them solve problems and deliver value to them. Now, in terms of the journey, I think most of my background is in consulting. Early on in the career, from supply chain consulting to strategy consulting. Brillio, when we started, I think, the question was, hey, why Brillio, right? So what I realized was that I think if we continue to execute on the vision that is laid out, it provides, you can bring in both your consulting sort of, advisory, the bent of mind, right? Along with that, make it real through technology, right? So that was the promise with which we started, I think, 10 years back. And I think we have come a long way. And I think, during the time, it has been grateful to see a lot of the clients in terms of how they have seen the value from Brillio. Now, in terms of the question around where the banking industry is going specifically, I think, we see that in our client base, right? A lot of the clients, from some of the largest financial institutions in the world to, what I would call mid-market sort of the bank or more regional banks as well from a banking perspective. If there is one common theme is, right, so for everybody, right, no matter the size of that financial institution, everybody is sort of, competing, no matter what. The technology has made it easier for smaller competitors to come and even disrupt. And I think I see everybody, right, whether a large bank, medium-sized bank, getting on that bandwagon where they know that they can compete as well, especially the larger banks. They have the resources, they have the money, right? They have the talent base as well. And I think, why can't they apply the technology to disrupt the competition, right? And that's, I think, is going to be the theme as I see it's already there and going forward, meaning no matter your scale, no matter sort of the resources you have, if you are not looking to disrupt what you do and try to find new ways of doing things, right? Somebody, even a very smaller competitor can, outcompete you, right? So it's about staying ahead of the game, right? And not being complacent, which is what I see.
Sure. And, I cannot help but ask you two other questions, right? I've been in Brillio for a shorter period of time, but when I talk to people around, they seem to indicate you are the hitman of this team, right? You are the Rohit Sharma of Brillio. You seem to have opened the most number of logos within Brillio. How do you make it happen?
Well, thank you. I think, but I don't know. There are so many outstanding, first of all, people here with so much contribution. I think, especially, I mean, whether people have been around since the beginning, or like you and a lot of others, right? So have been there, and it's the contribution of everybody, right, and the roles they are playing. But having said that, yes, I've been lucky enough in terms of, as I said, sort of work closely with a lot of the clients. And again, I think it's in the end, it's about my view, right, in anything, it's about genuinely being interested in the success of the clients, right? So I think they have to be able to see that it's not just a business in the sense, okay, out there, we are doing some transactional work for you, right? It's about being invested in the client, right, and their success. And I think, again, the clients are composed of individuals, right? Ultimately, everybody works with individuals, right? So it's about, at an individual level, understanding within the client, right, the people you work with, their roles, aspirations, goals, and how Brillio can actually help them realize that, right? I think these all micro moments, so to say, right, and the clients and the different clients you work with, it's about all those things coming together, right? That is how I think, in anything, frankly, I think, what helps, right? I think so. That's at least my experience.
Sure. We have a modest Rohit Sharma out here in our mix. In the last 10 years, from day zero, day one of Brillio, what has been your single proudest moment?
That's a tough one. I think, boiling it down to one thing, but because there is, frankly, I mean, there have been sort of, so many different incidents, right? And again, given the stage of the firm as well, right? So early on, sort of a lot fewer resources, right? Even with that, sort of how we have been able to help the clients. But I think, just to say, I mean, it's not necessarily, I think, single. It's hard to sort of boil it down, and I'm trying to sort of think as well, right? But one of the clients that sort of one of the banking clients that we have been working with for the last few years, right? And some of the feedback, when sort of one of the conversation I had with one of the senior leaders, right, in terms of why you chose to sort of take a chance with Brillio early on in the partnership, and sort of reflecting back in the last 4 years or so, right? Do you still think that Brillio is the partner you all thought that we would be, right? And I think the answer was not only just unequivocal yes, but they said that some of the same things, right? They said it is not just about what you do or what you deliver, and you meaning Brillio as a whole, right? It's about how we sort of get it done, and how peace is also staying invested about our client's success, right? And making sure that even when it's not convenient, and that's using their word, right? Sometimes it may not have been the most convenient thing for you all to do, right? But you made sure that if we needed certain things, right, and we were in that journey, I think you realize that if it is going to help us, you have never shied away, you guys, right, in terms of bringing the right, whether it's the team or sort of the investment of your time and commitment, right? And that is, I think, ultimately we all live for, right? Meaning clients see that we are not just sort of doing what we ought to be anyway doing, but we really care about their success, right? And I think that sort of is a recurring theme. But since that was a pointed conversation, so I thought it'll be, that may be an example of what you just talked about.
Absolutely. We know now why there are so many good success stories and, marquee logos with Brillio. We'll come back to you, Mayank. Maybe I'm going to take a little bit of a diversion and get into Sudhir Nambiar. Sudhir, you just joined us as the head of markets for BFSI. Somebody who spent 10 years is next to you. I don't know what this is. Is it week 2?
Week 3. Yeah.
Week 3, right? So give us a little bit of a flavor about yourself, your background, maybe what made you join Brillio, and what's been your first impression of the organization?
Yeah, so I should say week 3. All 3 weeks have been in different countries. This is maybe the 6th city. And if I would sum it up in one word, it's just energy, right? Like there's an incredible energy around Brillio. And the fact that in week 3 I'm sitting here having this conversation and
Right.
learning so much about the firm and just hearing Mayank and I were with a client yesterday, and he was doing the formal pitch, if you will, of what what that client relationship means for Brillio, how we've helped that client, what value we've brought over the years, and just hearing that articulated, right, was kind of affirmation, reinforcement of the positive impact you can have in a role like this, in a situation like this. I've spent 25 years in the industry, and everybody talks about customer focus and customer success, but it becomes real when you're in a room and you're talking to a client and you're talking about things that are relevant to them and that have made an impact and that have influenced their direction, in turn the employees that work for them, the customers that they have, which could be any of us, right? And that's what's special about banking, financial services as an industry, right? Unless you are living in a cave, chances are you're interacting with this industry, right? And so it's one of the one of the oldest in terms of we've been transacting, trading as a species for what, 2,000 years, and here we are, with every day being a new innovation. So what excites me about the space is, I've had the good fortune of being at the cross section of technology and banking and financial services, and if you think about the velocity and speed with which innovation is happening in the space, it's just tremendous, right? And every day there's something new. Every day is a learning experience. You can never say you've understood it all. There's something changing in every part of the world. So it's an incredibly exciting space. And so I'll go back to that word I said, energy, right? Like when you're in a place like this, and in week 3 you've already, like I said, visited all these different places, met with clients, met with colleagues, and seen and experienced that energy, it makes waking up in the morning a joy, and coming into work a joy, and hopefully that translates into customer impact, and that's what we all do this for.
Sure, fantastic, right? And I'm sure we look forward to your experiences and insights as we build Brillio for the future, right? Amitabh, coming to you, right? You are probably the balance between Mayank and Sudhir at this point, right? I think it's 5 years at Brillio now, and you played multiple roles, right? You scaled accounts from zero, you've grown some of the champion accounts for us, you've done multiple locations, you probably played roles across delivery and sales. Tell us something about yourself. How has your journey been? And beyond the 5 years, one is, what do you look forward to personally as Amitabh within the organization, and where do you see Brillio actually headed?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of this discussion. Before becoming a client partner for some of our accounts, was on the delivery side, 20 years on the delivery side, managed a lot of delivery for multiple customers. Brillio is a unique place, I think. I think the opportunity you get to work in different areas, as well as being the size we are, the customer base we have is very unique, right? So we have some, very large customers with every organization in the world wants to work with them, to, some which are trying to disrupt and change the industry, right? And you are, somebody who's helping all of these. So, from creating a completely new digital bank for one of our banks, right? So completely from grounds up all the way up, or a well-established bank, and then you're trying to bring them, from not being a dinosaur to, bring them to the new age technology. That's I think something great. And being on the delivery side was an experience. We've done a lot of great work here and deliver. But being in front of the customer, working closely with Mayank, Sudhir and you, getting that opportunity to learn and deliver, as well as, bring that thought mindset of Brillio, which is, customer at the center. If customer has a challenge, I think we look at, how we can solve that challenge, irrespective of, what capabilities we have or not, whether we can build that capability, whether we can partner with somebody to build that. Our thought of aligning with customers' KRA, the bank's KRA, the industry, I think that ability of building that relationship, ability to understand how we are making that impact, I think is what makes Brillio successful. So that has been a true experience here and a learning experience for me.
Sure. So what do you look forward to personally, right, as you progress your career within Brillio?
Personally, it's been great that now I've moved more customer facing and been able to deliver that. It's not in terms of roles or designation, but how I'm now able to make that impact bigger or better, how I'm able to scale Brillio as Brillio is growing at such a rapid pace, how I'm able to contribute to that is what I look forward to.
Fantastic. So 80 as a NPS score, 42 Fortune, 100 customers, right? We say we are maniacal about client success. Obviously, the results are there to see, right? And the growth and the trust the clients have placed in us is because of all the fantastic, delivery which we've done over the years. So maybe Mayank and Amitabh, I want to ask you if you could take one example and walk us through in terms of, what is the problem we've solved for the customer? How have we truly been a partner in delivering outcomes, right? And maybe Mayank, why don't you go for it first?
Sure. I mean, as we track how we deliver value, and if you look at us even over the last 2 years or so, more than 50%, maybe close to 60% of the work that we do, it is focused on, or it's based on the outcome-driven models, right? Where we sign up for delivering results for customers. And one of the most recent example with one of the largest Wall Street banks, as they were looking to modernize and transform their whole global networking infrastructure, and as we all know, in banks of that scale, network is one of the core elements in terms of the infrastructure, which can make the difference between making big gains on a trade, let's say, to give that example, versus actually losing money, right? So that's the criticality of that kind of infrastructure. So as they were looking to transform, they went through this whole process of selection of partners, and they were prior to that managing that sort of in silos across internal teams and some partners together. And they consolidated, and they chose Brillio or to have that responsibility. So over the last year and a half, I think we have been closely working with that client in terms of not just managing their infra in their networks, at a much higher level of efficiency, right? And along with that, transforming their operation as well, right? So sort of introducing newer networking and infrastructure components, driving a lot more automation, right? And through that, we have not only been able to deliver to them sort of productivity gains that we have passed on to the client, but we have also improved the infrastructure so that it is in a much better position right now to support the quote unquote the bank of the future as they define it, right? And we still have ways to go in terms of, we see over the next two years even more opportunities to continue to improve what they have, right? So that's just one example of approaching something with a very different mindset, right? Because the easy sort of approach could be, I can give clients, productivity gain, right? Or and sort of, make it a very people-based, right? We deliberately, when we started engaging with that client, we said, we will help you not just sort of get the productivity gain, but we will actually sign up for improving your core metrics around business performance, right? Which is dependent on this sort of infrastructure, right? So that's very, if not unique, it's for a company of our scale and our size. I think something that we do, I think, a lot more often than even some of the larger sort of peers would be doing that, right? So I think that's something, most recent example, but I'm sure Amitabh has more as well, right?
Yeah, so several places, I think, for one of the large commercial banks, right, we partnered with them completely on their digital transformation journey by, working on several initiatives, whether it was onboarding, cutting it from 12-13 days to less than 5-6 days, was a big achievement for them. And the way we were able to bring technology, BPM tools, etc., to make that process as efficient, as automated as possible, was a great success. Beyond that, we were partnered with them on this, this online banking transformation, where they had like more than 200k users which need to go now onto this platform. And because of its commercial bank nature, you have to be sensitive. And the way we transformed it, was great. And understanding the personas of the customer and building those features specifically for that was great. But what we did, through this journey was that we understood that the bank is going through this transformation and is going to continue to innovate and build a lot of different applications. We realized that, we should try and pass on different solutions and efficiencies which we have. Like, for example, creating this whole reusable asset of tools, which, can not only provide standardized behavior across their different products, but also improve the developer efficiency by 40% or so. So this is a great example how we are making difference to our customers.
And I think both these examples which Mayank, you and Amitabh have taken are truly representative of what Brillio stands for, right? And I've been closely involved, especially with the Wall Street Bank you spoke of. And in that particular case, I think, at least for me personally, when I look at it, we always talk about how, we need to punch above our weight. And I think it's a classic example of how the narrative quickly went from, who's Brillio when, we were part of the deal. And over a few months, it was almost like, looks like you guys were the best kept secret. So, where were you all this time, right? And Amitabh, in this particular multi-year transformation that you spoke of course, the NPS is outstanding and consistent across years. But I think what really stands out is the fact that the trust which has been established and the quality of delivery which sort of, complements it and, or rather adds more credence to it. Across stakeholders, business units, across business technology operations has been very, very high. But thank you for that. I think, it's a great indication of, what Brillio is capable of doing and how people on the ground make it happen for our customers.